Hey everyone, this is Charmene from Fantastic Crafts. I hope all of you guys are having a wonderful day. I'm sorry there hasn't been so many videos lately. Life just kind of happened and I just had to deal with a few things, but I am back and I am so happy to say that we have reached 500 subscribers. I want to thank all my friends because every single one of you have helped, and I am really, really grateful for every single one of you. And if you stay tuned after this video, I will have a way to enter my giveaway for the 500 subscribers. So let's go ahead and start this tutorial, and then I'll tell you about the giveaway at the end of this video. So I've been really inspired to actually use my watercolor brushes once again. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I love how watercolor can just be very therapeutic and very fun, easy, and very little stress. So I decided to play with that. So I used this stamp set from Sugar Pea Designs. It's called Hello Sunshine, and it has the cutest little image of a little girl kind of holding an umbrella and looking at snails. Well, that's the scene that I created, but you can create multiple scenes with the stamp set. So I really, really liked it, and I thought it would be perfect and just wonderful to play with it and watercolor with it. So to begin, what I did was I just simply stamped this image onto my watercolor paper. Now, you do want to stick with watercolor paper just because I have realized or noticed that watercolor paper moves the watercolor much better. So if you're ever having trouble with watercolor or moving watercolor, just make sure you use a watercolor paper, because what I was doing was I was just using the Neenah cardstock and it wasn't moving as much. So when I switched over to watercolor, I know it makes sense, right? Watercolor on watercolor paper, right? So yeah, make sure you use watercolor paper. I'm using Canson watercolor paper for this. I just cut it. It comes in big sheets, and I just cut it into the size I needed, and then this is what I'm left with. I usually cut a matte size. And then for this particular card, what I decided to do was first go ahead and emboss this image. So I stamped it using embossing powder in black because I felt like it would be kind of like a emboss resist, where my coloring wouldn't go too much out of the line because embossing creates that little bit of raised edge, so it just kind of keeps you more in your lines, and I need all the help I can with coloring, so any little thing like that really immensely helps me a lot. So once I had stamped that with my Versamark ink, before you do use the Versamark ink, make sure you use your little stamping buddy to make sure you clear all the static and everything from the paper, because then that creates a very nice like static free and very nice impression with your Versamark ink. Then I use this Brutus Monroe embossing powder, and I'm kind of loving this right now. It's the Raven, and it's this really, really intense black color, and it's just gorgeous. It reminds me of VersaFine Onyx Black because of how deep and rich black it is. It's beautiful, and it embosses wonderfully. I just absolutely love it. Once I was done heat embossing that, I took out my Nuvo little watercolor brushes, and I really, really like these colors, or these Nuvo water brushes. They are so pigmented with color that honestly, you don't really want to, well, you can color with it itself, but I didn't want too much of a color. I wanted more of a faded water look. So what I did was I just took a little bit of a plastic paper or anything you have that's non-porous really, and I just squeezed a little bit of that watercolor paint on that, and then that was able to let me paint the whole image. It was fantastic. You can either squeeze a little bit of the watercolor paint, or you can also just scribble. Either way works just fine, and it's super fun, and you need so little of this. I feel like these markers will last me forever, which is a good thing. So I'm going to let you enjoy the coloring part without me continuously talking. I hope you enjoy the coloring, and when the coloring is done, I will see you then. enjoyed that little bit of coloring. By the way, my camera decided to stop recording on part of it, so you saw me coloring half the time and not the full time. I'm sorry about that. But once I was done coloring, I did hit it with the heat tool because I wanted to do a little bit more heat embossing. So I wanted to make sure that it was completely dry, and I also used my embossing buddy to make sure that it wasn't wet at all, and my embossed part would look nice. So first I kind of wanted to do a few snails, I guess, coming from that little sidewalk. And I wanted to give the illusion or the look that she was just kind of staring at the snails going by. And I feel like that's something as kids we do, and sometimes we forget to focus on those what seem like small things to us, but what is really, really amazing. And we forget to just stop and look at all those beautiful things. And this is kind of a reminder that I had to remind myself this week that lots of things can be going on, life can be hectic, but you really do have to sometimes stop and smell the roses, because that is important. And so I kind of had this card do the same thing. The little girl just kind of sitting and relaxing and not worrying about everything else that is going on in the world, because there's always going to be something going on. So once I did the snails, I then wanted to do the same thing with my sentiment. So I used the sentiment from the same stamp set, and I used my Versamark ink to stamp the sentiment, and then once again use the Brutus Monroe Raven ink to heat emboss that little sentiment. Now, I will have to say, if you are looking for a sentiment or heat embossing powder that gives you the same look as the Versa Fine Onyx Black, that deep, rich black color, I would really highly suggest the Brutus Monroe Raven ink or embossing powder, because it gives you that same look. It's a little more glossy and a little bit more raised because it's heat embossed, but it's that true deep black color that I love in the VersaFine Onyx Black. So once I was done with that, I did want to ink the edges of this with a Distress Oxide color, and I do this with all my cards mostly, especially when I'm creating scenes, because I feel like it gives a more finished look. So I just went with the Bundle Sage and Distress Oxide, but you can use anything you want, any color. You can use the yellow, just pull in whatever color you kind of used with the watercolors. And I simply inked the edges of that. Nothing fancy, just inked the edges. And I really do think it gives it a more finished look. It doesn't look like I cut this paper out. It looks like this card was meant to be this scene. Like this exact scene was just meant to be. And I don't know if you guys feel that way too, but that's definitely how I feel. Now, once I was done with the inking, I just popped this up onto an A2 size card base, and I went with the black just because of the intense black of the sentiment and the outline of the picture. I just thought it would make it pop. So I just put some foam tape on the back and just put that on, and that's it for my card. It was that fun to create. It was really fun. I really needed to watercolor. When life throws you lemons, you watercolor. That's what I say. Because it is so fun, so therapeutic, and I really enjoy it. So now for the giveaway time. So I'm so thankful that I have 500 subscribers. It was a goal of mine, and I reached it thanks to all of you, all my friends who have helped me. Thank you so much. I really, really do appreciate it. And I'm so excited to do a giveaway. It's my first ever giveaway, and I'm super excited, super nervous, and I really want one of you guys to win. And it's going to be a crafty giveaway, so you are going to be winning some awesome crafty goodies. I will have to admit, I had to stop myself from using it myself, because I'm like, no, these are for my subscribers, not for me to use. So there will be one winner, and I have to keep this just in the US. I'm sorry for this first giveaway. That's how it's gonna be, just because I'm getting used to these giveaways, and it's really expensive to ship overseas, so I'm just not there yet. I'm sorry. Soon I will be. So this is going to be a US, and you do have to be 18 or older. Just leave a comment below on this video of what are your two favorite color combinations. That's all I need. And you do have to be a subscriber. And just leave that comment. What are your two favorite color combinations? So two colors that you absolutely love working with. And that's it. Good luck to everyone, and I'm so excited. I hope one of you win, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, bye.